All right, now we're live. So, okay. So you were investing in Athens, Georgia. Is that where you started your real estate career?
Yeah, so pretty much the first time that I ever went to Athens was when got back from Afghanistan. My wife was living down here, and at that time we had a newborn baby. So I said her parents lived down here, and they were all about helping taking care of the kids. I said, well, I guess I'm moving to Athens, and enrolled in state school, and so just kind of going off that, like I didn't know anybody here. I knew my dogs and I knew my wife, and I didn't know anybody. I've never even been to the city before. And I was like, okay, now I'm going to sell, real estate down here.
Right.
So, but,
nice.
I wouldn't let that obstacle like deter you, right? Like it's still people.
So what did the beginning of that journey look like for you? I mean, like every new realtor has their hurdle of actually getting a name for themselves. I'm just curious, like, did you just join a brokerage that kind of fed you leads, or how did you get out into the marketplace and really craft a name for yourself?
So I've never decided, or I've never thought of myself as like the smartest guy in the room, but I definitely knew I could outwork everybody. So I literally would show up to the brokerage at like 7 a.m., like with a book bag and a notebook because I couldn't afford an office. And I would just go sit in the training room and I would just like ask other realtors. I was like, hey, do you guys have old leads that I could just cold call for you and I'll cut you a percentage of that? And most realtors are like, yeah, hell yeah, that's awesome. Like, here you go, man. And they would just hand me a stack of papers that I just had in a 3-ring notebook.
Dang.
I would just call them. And, and I would do like the best open houses for people because, most of the time, a lot of people don't want to do open houses. So I was like, man, I can do open houses for free on other people's listings. That gives me an excuse to cold call people. It gives me an excuse to go door knock. It gives me an excuse to post on Facebook. And even though I'm not busy, to the social media world, it looks like I'm killing it and I don't have anything under contract yet. So I just decided like, that's my path right there. I'm just going to show up early and stay late. And, luckily I had a family that was like super supportive of that because they could, they could see the path of the dream that I was painting for them.
How did that transition into mobile home parks and where are you right now in the mobile home park space? Because you said you have like 3 parks now. And how did that look from the start?
Yeah. So, started picking up single families, by creative financing and just structuring and partnering with people the right way. That eventually led to me just kind of crazy. I was like picking up a prescription at a local pharmacy here. And I saw like a really dilapidated mobile home park sign. And I said, let me try calling them. Of course, it wasn't answered, but that, that's not going to stop me, right? I see a mobile home park here. The number doesn't work. In my head, I'm like, oh, man, this is like a great area, perfect location. So eventually, I tracked down where the seller was at. It was like an old Korean family who owned it. They actually had a realtor who was like the translator and helped represent them to the transaction. So turns out they owned not just that one, but 2 other mobile home parks, a single family home, and a gas station that they were looking to offload. They had just bought a year ago. And so in my head, I'm like, is this like the deal of the lifetime right here? I just tracked them down and I found them. And so they were interested in selling. So it was like a perfect time to like get in contact with them. And so we ended up structuring the deal in a way. I mean, I can go into the deal right now, but essentially they bought it for $1.2 million a year ago. I came to them. I said, hey, I can buy this at 1.3, but I need owner financing. And so they were, like I said, elderly. They said, sure, we want to be done with this. They lived in Korea, so it was almost impossible to manage for them.
Yeah.
Now, it is a Wild West over there. It's not. I'm not saying this is like a turnkey, perfect mobile home park.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like, all right, well, if you can kind of see what the future can hold, then this would definitely be worth it. So they agreed to 1.3 million owner financing with 10% down, 5% interest rate on a 5-year balloon payoff.
Nice.
Well done, bro.
How many pads? How did the numbers work out? Did it cash flow right out the gate?
Oh man, I saw one of the questions there y'all asked about horror stories, so I could really explain a lot about that. But so it turned out to be 66 pads across 3 mobile home parks, and that's the gas station and a single family home. The single family home really wasn't in bad shape, but we did end up remodeling that. So to kind of go deep into the details about why I think we got like a decent deal on the property was there was no property manager for the past 8 months, and these people lived in Korea. So there was essentially no management at all.
Yeah.
But people who invest in mobile home parks, you can kind of know if it's dilapidated. Tenants start running the park how they want to run it.
Yeah.
So that led us going down the path to find a guy named Pee Wee, who essentially told everybody that he was the mobile home park owner now, and he forged leases for everybody, got them to sign fake leases as the owner's name in their LLC, and he started collecting rent for everybody for 8 months in a row.
Wow.
And he had no affiliation to the ownership at all. Yeah, so 66. These were, a lot of these mobile homes were 70s and 80s models, so they weren't really in great shape. But he was charging $700-800, collected security deposit for him and everything. And he would just come by the first of the month, drive through, knock on your door, get the cash, and he said, "I'll see you next month."
So what
and
happened
we inherited that.
So what happened when did you initially confront him? What did he do? Did he forfeit any money, or he just took off and ran?
No way, no. So he, of course, he denied. He said, no, I was just doing maintenance on the property. I had a relationship with the former owner. And of course, we've known the story at this point. Like we've talked and we've spoken with all of the tenants and things like that. So eventually we told him, hey, don't come back to the property. He came back, was still trying to manipulate some of the tenants. So we ended up working with the sheriff's department because he had some open warrants for his arrest, and we got him arrested. And we were standing maybe 300 yards away when we got him arrested.
Wow.
So probably, yeah. So I said it was the Wild West. I mean, it was the Wild West.
Yeah, that has to top the list of horror stories I've heard in this space. That's amazing. I mean, that's ballsy from that guy too. Wow,
yeah.
You just go in there, and then he still tried to work you around that too.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah. I mean, he, if he wasn't, doing so much illegal things, like that mindset was definitely the right mindset to have. Just executed poorly, right? Because he did a great job of renting, 100, and he just had a waiting list of people that he could move right in there. So that was crazy. So, but because there was no property management or anything on these parks, I mean, we were essentially taking a huge risk with purchasing this property. Right.
Yeah.
It took 3 attorneys just to be able to close on the property, because a lot of attorneys said, no, we're not even touching this, because the mobile homes are so old that a lot of them didn't have titles. There was no VIN numbers on them. I mean, there was no septic maps. There was almost nothing. So we did the best due diligence that we can, and this, I learned a lot over the past few months about the politics side of mobile home parks. And it's not a single family home is so easy, right? A single family home, renovate it, you can rent it out, no problem. Mobile home parks are looked at much differently, especially when they're in this condition. So it just led me down a path of understanding, wow, you do have to play a political game, and unlike a single family home, you are owning a large portion of the county's residents, right? In one specific location. So after doing that, we started up a property company while we're buying this property as well, because no property manager was going to touch this as well.
Yeah.
Which is fine. So that led to the course of, getting my broker's license, establishing a property management company. Now I'm a mobile home retailer. So nice. It's taken time to kind of build up what we want to do and understand, that it's not a single family, that we actually have to fully develop this mobile home park. So luckily it's not cash flowing right now, but we're looking even every single month since we've had the property.
Nice. And what year was this? When did you buy that park, or all the assets?
October 2022.
Oh wow, yeah. So just recently.
Recent.
So you're going through the growing pains right now, but you've gone through the hardest part so far. It looks like now you're seeing the upside eventually, right?
Yeah. We've done 34 evictions in the past few months. So
34.
34 evictions in the past essentially 4 months.
Wow.
Yeah.
Talking about
I don't know if that's a record too.
Yeah.
Dude, you're going through it, brother.
You're just handed every obstacle and you're working through it. I mean, that has to tell you something about your personality. I mean, you're not crawling in a corner and saying, "Oh, why me?" You're actually working through these. So that's amazing. That's awesome.
Dude, that's what's up.
Yeah.
Now, how many pads are actually rented out? Where do you stand as of right now from the 66 pads?
So as of right now, so I guess if you want to include the gas station, because the gas station is literally at the mobile home park, so it's like actually on the same property, which kind of made it easy for us. But so we have 66. We're down to 17 rented pads right now, as we're going through the demolition stage to redevelop the mobile home park.
Yeah.
Which was a whole stage in itself, right? Is our original plan. You know, I came into this with such like a bleeding heart, like, man, we're gonna fix these mobile homes up. We're gonna give the community like a nice, affordable place to live. But what I was saying earlier about the politics of mobile home parks is the counties don't like this. They want it new. They want it clean mobile home parks. So like an entirely new population there.
Yeah.
So not having any support from the county, literally at all. In fact, they were like completely against whatever we were doing. Of course, they were for it before we bought it, but as soon as we bought it, it's kind of like the conversation changed a little bit.
So are they wanting like brand new manufactured homes in there, and that's the only thing that they'll settle for, or they just don't want the park to expand at all?
No. So originally we were trying to remodel them because remodeling them was going to be cheaper. But they just kept throwing curveball after curveball after curveball. So that led me down the path of exploring what it would take to get my retailer's license, which in Georgia is just a pretty simple application and $300. So I connected with a company called 21st Century Mortgage, which you may or may not have heard of.
Yeah.
And so, we did the application for the cash program, and essentially it's like a $1.2 million line of credit. But because I have a retailer's license, we're able to purchase the mobile homes directly from the manufacturer versus the retailer. So we'll save a huge right there, and we can do a bulk purchase, and they can be here, within the next 5 weeks. So essentially, we wasted a bunch of money and a bunch of time of going through and remodel these. We didn't really feel like we needed to pull permits, and the county just came out there and just slapped stickers all over us.
Dang.
And it eventually this led us to being in court like 2 weeks, where essentially, we kind of had like a make or break point with the county saying like, hey, you guys need to like get out of our way and like let us do this, or we're gonna have to back out.
Wow, I feel like we could
back out, but
I feel like we could spend the whole show just talking about this one deal. That's amazing.
I mean, I am a little curious too about what your exit is. I think you said you had a 5-year balloon. So what are you looking to just refinance them out, or are you looking to sell at that point, or?
So as of right now, so it's 3 parks. So we essentially have it broken down into 3 phases. So phase 1 will be kind of the smallest park there. We just demoed everything within the last 2 weeks. So on that one, we're looking to bring in just brand new mobile home parks and kind of, just bring life to that park, clean it up. And that'll be phase 1 right there. Phase 2 will be the demolition of the other 2 parks. One park we're going to turn into another mobile home park temporarily because we're waiting to get sewer over there. Once we get sewer over there, we essentially will move those mobile homes somewhere else, and we'll be able to develop that into the county gave us approval for 54-unit multifamily. Phase 3 will be what we're pushing for is we're 15 minutes outside of Sanford Stadium, so that's where UGA plays at, and there is no RV parks within that range that have a rentable pad, right? Nice. So they're pretty much all booked up, or you own the spot. So we brought this plan to the county saying, well, what if instead of a mobile home park, we turn this into an RV park? So that does 2 things, right? It gets rid of the mobile home park, so you guys don't have to see it on the main highway through the county, and it brings in a huge source of revenue for the county. Also, it's a great, tourist base there to bring people into the county.
Yeah.
And it's going to benefit us because instead of an RV park with septic tanks, instead of a mobile home park with septic tanks, we'll be able to put RV parks, which can still have shared septic tanks, which is one of the few business models where you can still actually do that.
That's awesome.
Wow, that is amazing. Again, I'm just shocked about everything you're going through on it and just pushing forward. It's amazing.
And it's like happening all at once. It's not even like it's like just slow and steady. It's like, yo, I'm jumping all the way in.
Yeah. And I guess, kind of like when we were running the numbers initially, like this was both me and my partner's first time jumping in the mobile home. So we thought we had a really clear expectation of what we're going to be able to do and how we'll be able to turn this over and, making, $500,000 a month. Well, here we are a little over 6 months in and not making $500,000. But, the learning process, and essentially like we're building this business essentially day by day, like as we're going here, right? Establishing the relationships with the lenders, establishing the relationships with the manufacturer. So I guess I'm looking at it as like a really pro, right? Is because we had to pretty much go through almost everything that you would have to go through owning a mobile home park. Every mobile home park after this will be kind of a rinse and repeat type thing, right? And we won't be doing things backwards and spending money here, spending money here. So we'll really have like a solid playbook of like, if this happens, then do this. If this happens, then do this. But it is happening all at once.
When you mentioned when you did buy the park, you had done some due diligence and you actually spoke with the county, right, and the city officials, and they were telling you, no problem, you can go and rehab these units, but they changed their word, right, as soon as you guys closed. What was their reasoning?
I really think it boiled down to politics, honestly. It's a very small rural county, and a lot of people know, the commissioners and all that on a first name basis, right? It's not like it's a huge line to get into the county to speak to somebody. So initially, just off of prior experience with getting slapped with stop work orders on single family houses, I wanted to lay out my game plan with the county beforehand. Said, hey, this is how many we have. I did an open records request. I see that y'all have these units condemned. So I understand those are condemned, like probably won't even worry about those. We can demo those. But the units that aren't condemned, like this is kind of the scope of work that we built out on all these. Here's our plan, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like, does this look good to y'all? And they said, yeah, if y'all can clean that park up, we're all on board. We'll stay out of your way. Just get it cleaned up, get some great tenants in there and make it look good for the county. So with that, I thought I had the green light to just, sweet, let's clean these up. Like, let's clean the park up, We'll tear out the bad ones and we'll get new tenants in there. It'll be nice, affordable housing for people. But literally, as soon as we closed, I feel like because I did that meeting, I had like a target on my head because I had raised saying like, hey, look at me, like I'm the new park owner, contact me directly.
Wow, that's frustrating.
What was the frustration after the fact then? I mean, like, if you're doing great for the community, why, like, what were they doing against you? Like, why were they doing that?
So, I wish I had like a real clear answer to it because I did do the open records request, which is, what they told me to do. I did open records request. They gave me a list of all the condemned. I said, roger that, brought it to the meeting, gave them our 3-phase layout for all this. They were totally on board. But like I said, I think once we closed, they knew that they had local owners that they could hold accountable. And I really think that's like, because every other owner of the park, they weren't local, they were in another country or lived, far away to another state. But because I was saying, hey, I'm a local guy, I live right here,
Did you have to get more accountable? Did you have to get attorneys involved, or you just ended up kind of pivoting in your direction of the park, as you mentioned? Because you said, you ended up having to work with them, but did you have to get attorneys involved?
So luckily we did it. I mean, we spoke with some attorneys just for like some, advisor and stuff. But essentially, by the time that it led up to court, we had built a really good case against the county to present in court, and they were slapping us with it added up to being about $25,000 in fines because of tires that we had stacked over here, from improper, grading, even though we pulled permits and all that, not having tax decals on mobile homes that we were literally had a tractor out in front of ready to demolish. So we had essentially printed out everything that we've done. We're about $300,000 into this project right now, right? And a lot of that is just going to be gone, right? We're not going to recoup that in the short term, at least. So essentially, when we presented that to the court, we didn't really need an attorney because we had a pretty solid case to present. And luckily the judge, he essentially told the county, like, get out of these guys' way. Like, if I'm back in court for something like this, I'm going to be pissed. So that really gave us a great kind of like, okay, cool. At least we have somebody on our side here at the county. So we were able to pull like really long-term permits, so we didn't have to constantly be going up there. So instead of 30-day permits, we were able to pull 6-month permits, and it just gave us a little more time to kind of work on things to keep, the county and zone and planning off our back.
Nice.
So we turned the page a little bit.
Yeah, that's good.
All right, so I've heard you comment on it a handful of times that you have partners. I kind of curious to hear a little bit more about that. How did you meet them? What does the structure of your business look like? How did you take this down? Did you like raise money? Did you all kind of go in on it?
So originally we started off with 3 owners. Now it's just down to 2. We had bought 1 owner out. So it was me and 2 other people. So luckily I was able to work myself in a commission closing part of the deal. And we essentially formed a new company. And we said, okay, whatever the closing cost and down payment's going to be, that's going to be our ownership in the company. So my commission happened to be 20% of the down payment. So I was able to actually roll my commission into the down payment part. So I really bought the park with none of my own money out of pocket, which was awesome. And then another partner that I had, that we had flipped a few properties together, he came in as a 20% partner. And then our other partner came in as a 60% partner. And so I've known one from when I was going to college. And the biggest investor, I actually met him from a Facebook post.
Yeah,
that's what's up.
And so me and him, I was helping him like flip a few properties, and I brought the bigger investor this deal. And we went and we drove around all the property, and I kind of like laid out my dream for what I thought this could be. And he was like, yeah, dude, I'm totally on board with this.
Nice.
So
and that's the 60% partner?
That's the 60% partner. Yeah.
Nice.
So that's worked out really well. So once we did the down payment part, we essentially broke it up. So now he's a 70 and I'm a 30% owner in the company. Once we bought the other guy out, but essentially my bigger partner, he also has a construction crew that he's been helping us roll the development side here as well. So it's kind of like one of those things, right? Like, if you don't have the money but you have the time. So I've been spending a lot of time essentially starting this property management company business, like taking care of all the evictions, doing the drive-bys, going to collect cashier's checks from people that don't have internet access, taking the calls from the county. So essentially I became kind of the admin side of the house, and he became kind of the front, more boots on the ground from a development standpoint.
Yeah.
So it worked out really well.
And that's awesome. I mean, I love that you're coming in with a less percentage of ownership, but you're getting into a deal. And look how much experience you're getting just from these deals. Like, that's more than some people will get in 10 years because they've been able to get such easy deals. But now the next couple of deals that you take on, they're going to feel like a breeze. I mean, and now you know everything to look for before you even, I mean, you already did your due diligence, which you can't be blamed for that. You did a good amount of due diligence. But now you know even further, one step, maybe you need to get like something in writing now, actually, from county officials stating. But now you know that, right? And that's a learning experience. I mean, we've all been in this business for a long time, the single family side, and we've all made mistakes, and we learn from mistakes. I used to say, like, I actually learn more from mistakes, and I wanted to create a podcast like Real Estate Horror Stories, because to me, I learned more from those than just skating by on some easy breezy investment that you happen to make, a bunch of money and you didn't do nothing on. So
no, I totally agree with that. I mean, like you said, we made so many mistakes. This is both of our first time venturing into mobile home parks. But honestly, and I told him, I was like, man, I could come in as a small owner, or I could just kind of help you out along the way, because I knew that this was the path that I wanted to go into. Like, I wanted to be multifamily and mobile home. And how do you get there kind of by yourself, right? I'm sure people do it, but it's much harder to do by yourself. And I wanted the experience, right? Because I felt like, okay, I've got a really good grip on single family, but like there is a whole nother level to the multifamily and mobile home aspect of it. You're just dealing with so much going on at one time versus like one little house on the block.
Yeah. Right.
And then how did it the craziest part about it, did you know you liked the mobile home park space, or was it randomly you saw a distressed mobile home park and you're like, oh, that seems like something worth calling? What
Right.
came first? Did you know you wanted that asset class? And were you educated about it at all before you called?
I had a very like basic knowledge, right? Like, I mean, I listen to a ton of podcasts and, you know, read the books and things like that. So I thought I had a much better knowledge base than I did, right? Because I've sold mobile homes, you know, like single mobile homes, called other mobile home parks and things like that. You know, I've taught the mobile home investors. I thought I had like a really good grip on like what I was doing. But I definitely wanted to get into the asset class because one, we're in Georgia and there's a ton of mobile home parks here, like probably more than, you know, quadplexes and apartment buildings, I'd say. So I knew that this was something that if I can get into it now, then it's a scalable business because there is so much opportunity in Georgia and just the South in general, right? There's a lot of mobile home parks here. So I definitely knew this was what I wanted to do. And honestly, it's worked out great now because now I understand, like, wow, I can add some of this to my real estate agent business, right? I'm a retailer now. So now not only can you buy the land from me, but now I can also tell you the mobile home that goes on that land.
Yeah. Nice.
That's amazing. So, I know you kind of already went through what like your biggest challenge is, but do you have, how about currently in your business, what's the biggest challenge that you're facing?
The single biggest challenge, I mean, it was probably just a lack of knowledge because we did so many things so backwards from a development standpoint, right? When I say like redevelopment, I mean, I truly mean like we are redeveloping the mobile home parks, like all the way from not just new mobile homes, but everything that goes into taking something to dirt and building it back up, right? So from a survey perspective, understanding, you know, the septic versus sewer guidelines for those, you know, how that fits with all the setbacks within flat mobile home park, right? So and we did all that so backwards. So just not understanding and not having that knowledge was by far the biggest hurdle that we had to go through. And that one hurt because it was a financial hurdle because we were just spending money for no point.
Yeah. How much more have you been spending or have you spent so far? Or are you planning to spend to get to the park to where it's operating at full capacity?
So our estimate for demolishing mobile homes, septic clearance letters, resurveys, and bringing new mobile homes in with the RV park resurvey, we're probably looking at about $500,000 to $600,000 more.
Wow.
Nice. That's a big chunk of change.
That is, yeah, that's a big chunk of change.
How are you guys going to fund? How are you going to fund that 500?
So with the 21st Century Mortgage, they have a cash program, right? Where they essentially, there's two different programs, but one of them is it's essentially a $1.2 million line of credit where they will finance 100% of the new mobile home for you. You know, and you just start making payment on it just like you would like a normal mortgage. Yeah. So that's going to be that side of the house there. So kind of like what I was saying, phase 1, phase 2, or phase 1, phase 2, phase 3 is once we get that first mobile home park up and running, I mean, we could rent these things up for probably $1,200 a piece, you know, times 8. That's going to be, we could easily sell that at like, you know, at 8 or 9 cap turnkey mobile home property. Use that first one to finish out the development stand piece on the bigger projects there.
Nice.
So a big chunk of that 500,000 is for new mobile homes.
Yeah, I was getting some quotes today from Clayton, and looking like we can get a brand new mobile home, a 76-footer, for about $48,000 delivered, which was more than I was expecting. Nice. So yeah, so cool. Not bad. So yeah, if you don't have your retailer's license, I would highly suggest getting your retailer's license.
Yeah, that's
a big chunk.
Yep. Dang. And how much is it roughly costing you, like per pad or per space, I should say, to redevelop it? Like, are you pouring new concrete? Are you setting up new lines? I know you're saying it's on septic, but what's all in detail to get each one of these set up correctly now?
So essentially, the mobile homes, they come, you know, already ready, good to go, right? They're ready, just kind of plug and play with all the equipment. So unfortunately, we are on septic tanks on all these. There's no sewer available, which that's kind of a big downside for how much mobile homes you can get on one piece of land. But we got septic clearance letters on all the septic tanks, so we'll be able to reuse all these septic tanks that are already there. Even though they're 30, 40 years old, we got clearance letters. They're good to go. If we had to repair them, we did the repairs there. So that's not going to be a huge cost there. To get the permanent foundation up, we're looking at about $5,000 per permanent foundation, and maybe another $5,000 or $6,000 for the actual heating and air unit, because we do have to have that with the county, and then maybe another couple $1,000s connected to electricity.
Okay.
And we should be good to go.
Is each one of the units going to be individually metered for electricity and gas?
Yeah. That is the good thing about, because we're not starting from the scratch there. So we'll be able to essentially reuse each mobile home spot for the electricity. We cut off gas completely because we didn't want to deal with that. So it'll just be electricity and then septic tank.
Okay, nice. Wow.
So, yeah. Looking forward to it. So yeah, I guess y'all can follow up with me in a few months and kind of see where we're at.
Yeah, we love to. I mean, that's we'll have to bring you. We'll have to start a special edition with horror stories and part twos. I think you topped that list for sure.
Yeah, I don't know if that's something to be proud of, but we're definitely making progress.
I mean, like I said before, it's look, we all live and learn, right? And it's amazing that what you've been faced with, you're still pushing through. And I have to say, a lot of that and part of this, the live stopped or didn't start on time, so a lot of people probably missed this. But you came from the Marines, right? So I'm guessing a lot of what you're dealing with right now is also because you've gone through what you've been through in the Marines, right?
Yep.
And so that's absolutely amazing. Again, thank you for your service. But that's I feel like because of that, you're now equipped to deal with what a lot of people would probably just maybe give up or crawl in the corner and cry. Basically, I'm not saying maybe you cried, but you worked through it. But
there may have been a few tears, but there's nice of you can kind of get in those zones of like with the pad and pen, and you're writing down like, okay, maybe if I do this, then this will happen, right? There's been a lot of brainstorming, a lot of learning, but I mean, essentially adversity is kind of like, that's just been the theme of my life, man. Like growing up, single mom and all that, Marine Corps to now trailer parks, right? It's just kind of adversity, but like what y'all said earlier, right? You don't get better by stopping.
Right.
I'm a huge believer in that. Huge believer in that.
Nice. So
it will be cool.
I know you, and you have you're a team leader for a team with Keller Williams. Are you still working the single family side, or are you kind of letting that do its own thing and you're focused more on the investing side? What would you say you're splitting your time on right now?
I would say, mainly with the team leader position. So there's still a lot of oversight that goes on with just, the operation side and then running the agents. But I'm still also actively selling, single family homes. Like I said earlier, those are kind of the quicker paychecks, right? So those sales there kind of help propel me to get more and more into the investor standpoint. But I've really built my business off of being a really good investor friendly agent, right? So my sale numbers have never been incredibly great, but like I said, just with the mobile home park, I didn't really care about that because I wanted to learn about the investing side. So I definitely have a huge focus on that. And probably my biggest thing outside of my personal investing would be helping other veterans and young people get into the investing standpoint, right? I think just where we're at now, there's so much fear and clickbait out there. But if I can help educate people about the power of real estate, I know what it's done for me. And I've really only been investing since 2019. And it's changed the trajectory of my life.
That's awesome.
And my family. So helping other younger people get started in investing in real estate early, right? By taking advantage of the great loan programs out is like another huge factor.
Yeah. That's awesome. How many agents are you a team leader for?
So it's me and then 4 other agents, and we have 1 director of ops.
Nice.
Runs the show for us.
That's what's up.
So yeah, we do. Yep, and then still in the National Guard once a month, so not a lot of sleep.
So, wow.
You like the hustle, bro. You like the hustle.
It's something, yeah. Just lots of caffeine.
So what if, I mean, you kind of already talked about this a little bit, but if you had to start out over, what would you do a little differently today? What would you, I know I kind of mentioned, would you get something in writing from the county, and you kind of give me one of these. Uh, is there anything else that you would have done a little differently?
Yeah, 100%. I would have reached out to other bigger mobile home park owners sooner, because I started doing that much later in the process. But I don't know if it was an ego thing, or I just like, hey, I thought I had it figured out and I had a thumbs up from the county. But by reaching out to other mobile home park owners to kind of run them through the scenarios I'm going through, or run them through the plan, and just kind of take knowledge. And it's kind of funny because I always tell other people to do that, right? But I just didn't do it myself. But yeah, if I was to start over, I would talk to somebody else, local or national, right? There's so many resources out there. And they say like, hey, here's my game plan. What flaws do you see that I have in my plan that, I could better implement it? We did spend a lot of time just kind of spinning wheels here, just doing things that we didn't really need to be doing. So just having we did our due diligence on the park, but we did not do the due diligence on the business plan itself. And that's something that, it wasn't catastrophic, but man, we could be even further along now if we would have did a little better business planning.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, because I mean that's why we've created this MHP Nation. We're in the learning phase ourselves. We're not new to real estate. Like Ben's been in for 20 years, I've been for 18 years, and Christian's been in for a couple of years and doing lots of deals, right? All of us. So, but we're new to the mobile home park space, and so our thought was, well, hey, while we're learning this, let's start a group so people can learn with us. And what you mentioned is like, we're bringing on people that are further ahead of us. I mean, and our plan is to eventually, team up and partner up with people like you and others. And we definitely see the value. So I'm glad you brought that up. And you knew it. It's just in the time of the deal, you're so focused on that deal. You think, hey, wait, actually, I should have reached out to some other people. So I'm glad you brought that up, because that's a huge point. Anything I do now doesn't matter. I mean, amount of deals I've done in 18 years, I'm still always reaching out to somebody that's done it more than me, or is doing something I don't know about, and I'm willing to give up a portion of my profits because I want to make sure it's done correctly. I've been in the same shoes as you in the beginning. First couple deals, like completely screwing. Well, I won't say yours is a complete screw up. You worked there. I completely screwed up some of my deals. So, so that's awesome. I love that answer.
Yeah, I think what y'all are doing is awesome, man. I mean, anytime that you can kind of help somebody out, or we call it like cut the learning curve a little bit. I mean, that just there's not a lot of people that are doing mobile home parks like this. You hear people talk about that all the time, but actually meeting people that are kind of like in the trenches like this, it's a much smaller group of people. But what I found out is most people are more than willing to hop on a quick 5-10 minute phone call and just hear you out. Yeah, I mean, I don't think anybody's told me no, and I've spoken with people in New Mexico, Arizona, California, Georgia, obviously. I mean, and so many people are just like, oh man, like, well, this, or they give me another idea, right? Like somebody else gave me the idea for the RV park, and that was just kind of like oh wow, that's a great idea.
Yep.
Let's implement it, and it turns out to be a great business model. So that's huge right there.
That's awesome. So I got a question. You mentioned there's a gas station involved in all this?
There is a gas station involved in all this, yeah.
Tell us a little bit more about that, man. What are you going to do with the gas station?
I wanted to know if he was like, none of it.
Oh, is it breaking up for everybody else, or is it just me?
Just a little bit, yep. All right, Sean, you're going to have to say everything you just said all over again.
Yeah, it broke up.
No worries. Can you guys hear me better now?
Yeah, we're good now.
Okay. Yeah, so with the gas station, we didn't really want it, but essentially the seller was like, you either take all of it or you take none of it. Mm-hmm. So we were like, okay, well, I guess we're gas station owners now. Luckily, the gas station owner, she's been there for like 23 years, since 2000. So she had a really good grip. She doesn't own it. She just runs the business out of it. So it was really perfect scenario, right? So there was a diamond in the rough here, right? This lady's been great. She helps us collect, rent from tenants, super honest. Like, she knows gas station business inside and out because she's been doing it for 23 years. And she's super passionate because that's her main source of income. She said she don't want to go anywhere. She'll help, clean it up and all that good stuff. So that's great. But so that's actually like our best paying tenant right there is the gas station owner. And we probably, undercharge her rent a little bit, but again, it's okay, right? Yeah. Sometimes it's better to have a lower paying tenant that's great than a higher paying one that's just a pain in the butt. So yeah, I've definitely understood that. And with that, there's a whole nother set of regulations, right? Because now it's not residential, it's also commercial, but there's gas and diesel involved, right? So you have to be very careful about EPA regulations with gas stations. So understanding that and making sure that we are incorporating those plans into the redevelopment from an EPA standard, because that's definitely one agency you do not want on your wrong side right there. So really understanding and having conversations and meeting with her and understanding that process to make sure that we're on the same page, where the tanks are at, making sure all that stuff is mapped out. And also how, her helping us essentially maintain the tenant. When we do the RV park there, it's going to be essentially, the gas station is going to be right in the middle of this RV park, which you would imagine would just extremely boost her sales of everything.
Sure.
So we're looking to make that like a much more synergistic business here.
Nice.
And now that you have so many different assets, is there a particular asset class that you're looking to invest more into, or like on?
Oh, I think your headphones probably died, huh?
Can you hear us?
Yeah.
Perfect.
I was going to say, now that you have a little bit your foot in a lot of different doors as far as assets and real estate, is there one that you're most excited to continue to add to your portfolio? Is it mobile home parks? Is it single families? What are you actively trying to add to your portfolio as an investor?
So, I always have a special place in my heart for single families because that's where I started and that's how I was able to scale up. But the same word, scale, right? It's very hard to scale a lot of single family houses, right? It'd be very hard to do 66 single family houses, right? It's a crew. There's 66 closings that you'd have to deal with, right? So just the cost of all that is not really very scalable, right? So the reason why I love mobile home parks is because they're all right there in one specific spot, right? A little more easier to manage, a little more easy to control. What's right there. And now that we've gone through all this stuff, like I was saying earlier, the scalability of having this playbook of how do we turn, a not good mobile home park into a great cash flowing asset. And I think with the big turn of what we're going through in real estate right now is there's a lot of mom and pop mobile home parks out there that their kids didn't want the mobile home parks. And so they've just continued to manage them. So I really think here with the amount of baby boomers that are retiring, I think it's like 10,000 a year or something like that. I think there's going to be a huge opportunity to purchase these, as well as a lot of them are not in great shape, which is going to turn a lot of people off because they're not able to be financed.
Yeah.
So understanding how to sell or finance a mobile home park now and bringing that where it has to be a win-win for everybody. We don't want to take advantage of everybody. It has to be a win-win. But taking this and saying, look what we've done. Look how we can make this a win-win for you in retirement. And look what we're going to be able to do community that you just don't have time or energy for anymore.
Yeah.
And so bringing that's what I'm most excited about. It's getting through this big one, getting through the tough times right here, but really going out and helping a bunch of these mom and pops and the tenants in there too, right? Like you got to respect the tenants.
Yeah.
I think there's a huge opportunity coming up in this world. And the fact that they're going to be very hard to finance because a lot of them are from the 70s and dilapidated. I think that's like, man, that just gets me really pumped up because, okay, that's a huge opportunity right here.
Yeah.
That's funny you mentioned that because when we first kind of got together, we kind of recorded what are our thoughts on why we're getting into the mobile home park space. And that's pretty much exactly what we said. Like there's such an opportunity for this because one, it's a lot of mom and pops that are owning these. And two is the affordability aspect of it and turning around these parks so that we have nice, safe, affordable places for people to live. And that was a passion for all of us. So you pretty much just mimicked exactly what we were saying too. And
must be on the same page here then.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, but
so,
what I'm sorry, but like I was saying, what brought me to that is because I was sick and tired of calling these like apartment building owners, and they wanted these astronomically big numbers, and there was a lot more buyers that somebody could pay cash. I can bring 1.5 to the table right now. I can't do that right now. But as soon as I started talking to mobile home park owners, they're like, I haven't got a call in 20 years. I'm like, perfect. Let's work something out here.
Yeah. Yep. I think it's key what you said is knowing the seller financing aspect of things, because that is going to be crucial with a lot of parks, because of the years of the maybe of the actual mobile homes and of the park and other things that are not going to get your traditional financing. And so working out terms with seller financing is going to be key. So it's good that you understand that. And that's kind of our aspect too. We're throwing out our cash offers, but we're preferably would like a seller finance deal with the right terms.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 100%. Because I mean, if you can get up and running where you can bring that to a bank and show them like, hey, we have 3 years of data right here, the bank will actually take a look at it. But if you bring to the bank some scratch note, rent collection, they're not even going to pay you, right? So just understanding that from a business side, okay, wow, that there is a really good opportunity here.
Absolutely.
And I think just the affordability in America right now, right? Like it's expensive no matter where you're at. So giving people nice, clean, affordable places to live, I think there's really a lot more pros than cons, I believe.
Are you renaming the park at all? Are you doing any kind of rebranding of the park?
My wife wanted me to call it Sunnyvale off the Trailer Park Boys, but I didn't. I ran that by my partner. He's also from Canada. He didn't think it was that funny. So eventually one day we probably will. We probably will.
Yeah.
But as of right now, it just makes it a lot easier.
I know a lot of people that are kind of redeveloping these parks. They're calling them manufactured parks, manufactured home parks instead of mobile home parks, because it's the conversation. I'm drawing a blank on the word.
Yeah,
there you go.
Yeah, I think according to HUD, I think mobile homes stopped being used in like 1976.
Yeah.
I maybe want to double check me on that, but yeah, and even that, there's somebody down the road from me. They're doing a 55 and up mobile home park community or manufactured home community.
Or tiny home villages and stuff like that. I mean, it's
so it's like why not be on the cutting edge of that, right? And instead of like being the small mobile home park owner, like create nice communities there, and that I think will really benefit you in the long run and get a good out there. And then showing people that you can do this, then when you call and they recognize or you have a resume saying like, look what I've done, they're going to be a lot more willing to talk to you.
Yeah, exactly. I've noticed just from reading on some posts and different things is the rebranding of these parks, adding amenities like a dog park and maybe even like playgrounds, because we are in a part of history where we have an issue with the affordability index. A lot of people cannot afford their rents. So they need to get to something that's more affordable. Until something else happens, manufactured home communities are the answer, basically.
Yeah, 100%. We actually brought up doing, when we do the RV park, like a big actual ceremony and have the newspaper. We'll have the commissioners all out there, because there's commissioners with some big scissors and like really make it a public spectacle.
Absolutely.
So that's the plan.
Cool. Well, hey, we're approaching almost an hour here. We're about 48 minutes of recording here. Sean, how do people get a hold of you before we start asking a couple more questions before we end it?
Facebook. I mean, Sean Hayes on Facebook. The Hayes Group is my Facebook business page. Instagram, Sean Hayes _ the Realtor. Sean Hayes is a very difficult name to market because there's an actor named Sean Hayes. So discovered that as well. And then on TikTok, it's Sean Hayes _ the Realtor, and pretty active pretty much across all social media. So
TikTok, what was the Facebook one? I'm gonna put it up on the screen.
It's my normal one, Sean Hayes, but then my business page is the Hayes Group.
Okay. Hayes. Write this in there.
While he's writing that up, for the spaces that you already got leased out, Are they tenant owned? Are you converting everything to tenant owned, or are they park owned still? What's your business model look like in that respect?
Yeah, so there's only one tenant that actually owns her home still. Everybody else we've gotten them essentially, leave and just sign something saying like, hey, you're just going to abandon this property here. No cost to you, no cost to us, except when we demolish it. So we have one left. But when we do go to the redevelopment, we most likely will go with the tenant-owned property. That just seemed to be a better business model for what we're looking at. It just seems to make sense.
Yeah, I was thinking earlier, like right now you're trying to recoup a lot of your capital, so you're probably okay doing the rental, especially if you have that management company underway. It makes sense doing that now. Down the road, I'm sure you're gonna be like, nah, let's just do tenant owned and not deal with this anymore, and maybe even, I don't know. But
yeah, so kind of like the what our thoughts were, right, is because it probably would be hard for a lot of these people to finance these, is get them and then sell or finance the homes to the tenants.
Yep. Yeah. The only thing you would have to kind of deal with is does each unit have its own septic tank, or it's kind of each one has its own septic. Okay. Oh, that's awesome. So then you definitely could.
Yeah.
Without putting too much expense in the infrastructure.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So it's kind of already set up for that for doing that, because there's not going to be any shared septics or anything like that anymore.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's why going from an RV park to a mobile home park is not, because you got to keep adding, like you mentioned, RV parks. You can have multiple units going into one septic, but you can't do that vice versa unless you add additional infrastructure.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the EPA does not like shared septics. I'll tell you that.
Question for you. So we got Kathy here from our Facebook group. She said that she's in escrow right now for a small park. So for Kathy, what is your number one piece of advice that you would give in summary for all this, giving Kathy?
Honestly, I would go to the county immediately and meet with an escrow for I just read the comment there. I would go to the county immediately with your business plan and have them agree to that in writing. I'm not sure anything on your mobile home park, but just based off of my experience, if the county is not on board with what you're planning on doing, trying to go past them is going to be impossible. They're going to continue to shut you down. So in that due diligence, of course, look at the structural stuff and the septic or sewer and water and all the normal stuff that you would do, but go to the county, talk to them about your business plan, and get them to agree to that in writing. And I think that would save you a tremendous amount of headache.
Yep. Awesome, man. Awesome. I'm sure Kathy's thanking you as well. I appreciate you doing that, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, cool. I mean, is there anything else you'd like to share before we take off and let you go?
No, man, I really appreciate you guys having me on here, and to anybody else listening, just keep pushing through. I think adversity is the name of the game, and if it was easy, everybody would do it. It's the most cliche thing to say ever, right? But honestly, you'll never be able to do what you want to do in real estate if you're not willing to face a little adversity and be willing to reach out and talk to people. But I think if you're facing adversity, it's usually a good sign.
Nice. Well, Sean, I appreciate your time in here. I appreciate your service. We thank you for that. And I have to say, it's definitely one of the top horror stories I've heard. And it's just amazing that you've worked your way through this. And we can't wait to see it, a year from now and how it's performing. So we'll definitely have to invite you back on to as a part two for sure. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'll give y'all some updates as we move on, and y'all can kind of see the stuff on social media of what we're doing. So we're looking forward to it, man. And like I said, really appreciate the opportunity to hop on here, and let's keep crushing it.
Cool, man. All right, guys. Well, that was an amazing show again, Sean. Appreciate you guys coming here. We're doing this every Monday. We're calling it Mobile Home Park Mondays. Feel free to join our group, and we will share more information. We'll have updates with Sean. Make sure you follow Sean, and if you guys have deals, make sure to bring him some deals. Obviously, as you know, he's a team leader for Keller Williams, the Hayes Group. So if you got single families out in Athens, Georgia, reach out to him, and he'll be a good person to talk to about the real estate side. So again, thank you, everybody. Have a great rest of your week.